This is Bulletproof, where Hollywood scandals meet real detective work. I'm Steve Stanulis, former NYPD officer, celebrity bodyguard, and private investigator. Unlike other true crime podcasts, these aren't cold cases. These are active celebrity crime investigations happening right now. From Diddy's inner circle to A-list scandals. I've been there, and I'm exposing the celebrity secrets you've never heard. Welcome to Bulletproof. In a world full of secrets, we don't chase the truth, we hunt it. Now, we call this one, this next case, one of them I'm sharing with you. It's one of the craziest ones I've dealt with. We call it the politician and the boner. Yeah, it's easy for me to say. We call it the politician and the burner phone mistress. So again, this was a crazy one because we had a woman walk into the office, and I knew I had recognized her. I didn't know from where. I knew she was press-worthy, and I knew she was somebody that's, up high up there. And she was worried about her husband cheating. And, we discussed the flags and everything. Most of the time, and I'm not going to say all, but most of the time, and this goes for husband and wives, when you suspect infidelity and there's a couple flags that come up, 99% of the time, it's probably valid. Again, I've been fooled before, but most of the time when you have a suspicion and there's some flags like changing the password on the phone, coming home late hours, doing extra grooming, going to the gym, stuff like that, and you having an intuition that the person's cheating, most of the time they are. And again, I hope it's not the case, obviously for the client, but on this particular case, it turns out she was a pretty up-and-coming politician's wife. And the crazy thing is, once we got started, before we started the surveillance, she handed me like this burner phone from 2008. And it was weird because I haven't seen a phone like that probably since 2008. So anyhow, what we were supposed to do is basic plan like any other. We found out she had an Apple tag on this phone, which is always great because people think surveillancing someone and following them is like a TV show, that you could be right behind them and you never get caught. And that's never the case, especially with people are high profile, and or cheating. They have to be a little more on high alert, where if you're just going about your day, you probably would have no idea who's behind you. So the cool thing about the Apple tag is wherever he would go, the wife would tell us where he is, and then we go to that location. And then we'd let him go again, and then we'd go to the next location, which is great because we never have the ability to get caught because we're always behind and we're never seen. So this one stays with me because of the magnitude of who the subject was and the weirdness of the burner phone from 2008 and why would he have a burner phone from 2008. And again, what happened was, although he wasn't doing anything wrong in the beginning, the pattern was he was always saying he was one place when he clearly was not. Meaning he would say, hey, I'm at a campaign meeting, and then we checked the Apple tag and he was somewhere else. So he wasn't actually doing anything cheating-wise or anything that would ruin a marriage-wise, but he was lying. That's really all he was doing. He was just not being forthcoming of where he was. And this guy, again, he wasn't just some Wall Street broker. This guy was a rising star in politics in New York. Clean image, clean suits. I mean, big up-and-comer guy. So, again, why risk all this, or why risking all this when you have all this happening for you was beyond me. But again, as of now, all we got in the first week, 3 to 5 days of surveillance, was he just was lying on where he was going. What happened was, the first pattern we found was on Tuesday nights, he had fundraising events like clockwork. Every Tuesday, fundraiser. And suddenly, and also, let me preface that by saying, not only fundraising, press events, which obviously keep you newsworthy, keep you in the cycle, keep you relevant with people that are potential voters and people that are voting for you. So he would start making himself, after us following him on Tuesdays and seeing him at the events, all of a sudden he was becoming unavailable on Tuesdays for some reason. And we thought that was odd. But again, at this point in time, there was nothing unusual other than now he was always lying on where he was, but he wasn't doing anything wrong. And now he was canceling fundraisers where obviously he'd be getting money for his campaign. And he was also not dealing with the press, which obviously two no-nos if you're looking to get elected, and especially if you're an up-and-comer where everybody's all about you. So one Tuesday night, after the third cancellation of a fundraiser, we follow him to the Upper East Side. And basically what happens is he gets dropped off out of his Escalade, no security, and he walks into this boutique hotel. Where obviously we noticed there was no cameras, which was an important note there, because if you're walking into a big hotel, there's always cameras everywhere. So this particular boutique hotel was picked purposely because it didn't have any security. And, we kind of tailed him, and he ends up going to the bar, and he meets a brunette, mid-30s-ish, beautiful girl. Again, at this point in time, he's not at his campaign about fundraising. He's not doing press. He's lying to his wife. Now, he's telling his wife he is at the campaign fundraiser, and now he's in some boutique hotel. But again, he was just talking to the female. Nothing crazy. But this is where it gets a little nutty. So they go up to the room. We find out from the front desk, they check in as, I don't even remember the name right now, so I'm going to say Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but it wasn't Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It was something else, but it wasn't their names. But when we run the photo, it gets a little weird because she was not some side piece or an escort. She was a senior policy advisor for him. And she was also married with 2 kids. So now we're not just looking at infidelity. This is some potential campaign ethics type of thing, which now, again, you turn into this major gorilla of a case, which I didn't want to turn it into, because all our client wanted was to find out if her husband was cheating, and didn't want to turn this into a circus, which it would have been. So, I mean, if the press would have found or caught wind of this, with knowing who the politician was and knowing it was a senior policy advisor, forget it. It would have been TMZ. It would have been everything. So since I don't work for the press and I don't care about the press and I don't particularly want to blow anything up for my client, I just want to, do a good job for her, get her what she needs. Now, kind of let the client know what's going on. But as we're calling the client from the car, our car, there's an escalade that kind of pulls up on us, which again, I found odd, because I have never had a case where I'm following someone and now I'm potentially getting followed. So now I'm not going to lie, I'm a little freaked out because again, the client's an up-and-coming, well-known politician. I myself have been involved with some things in my career. I didn't want to have that tied together. So basically what happens is we kind of pull away indiscreetly, but we kind of pull away and we check to see if we were getting followed. So again, that's a big twist, and it's a big reason why I wouldn't say this case was a normal case, because of all these variables going on now. Now I'm getting followed. Politician is cheating with a senior policy advisor who's married with 2 kids. That whole thing is unethical. The burner phone is still a mystery. So at this point, I'm getting a feeling that now I am being watched. So I think that, the gig is up, and I don't want to tell or freak out the client, hey, that we got made, and now your husband knows that we are following him, and they probably look into us because they probably have the same ability as we do, and he knows who we are. And the ironic thing is, the Escalade that was following us had no plates, so we couldn't even run the plate to find out who the SUV belonged to. So that made things even more, I don't want to say scary, but, scary, right? Because now, of all this variables, I mean, people could get in a messy situation knowing now all the stuff we know. I mean, we have major congressmen up and coming. Well, I'll say a politician. We have infidelity. We have infidelity with a senior policy advisor who's married, so she's being cheating on her spouse, and the ethics of you working with the politician being a senior policy advisor. That's a whole other thing. And now you throw in that they're following us. So I contacted a friend of mine at the NYPD cyber unit, and he runs a private check, and basically looked into the 2008 phone, and he told me it's not just for text. It was also used to set up an off-record meeting with some shady real estate developer who was under some sort of federal investigation, which now, again, made this even more of a plot and even more crazy. Because, again, think about all the variables. Again, I'm not going to repeat them over. But now, am I in over my head here? Is somebody going to show up to my house? Is somebody going to, come to question me? Why am I following them? Who hired me? And all this stuff. So again, my priorities and my worries are always about, protecting the client, making sure I do right by the client, not only getting them the information they need, but protecting their privacy and keeping them out of, the know of the subject that we were hired by her. So if that comes up, I always try to create a different reason on why somebody else could have hired us. But anyhow, when I present the findings tonight, this is where it gets even crazier, right? So now I meet with the wife, Nobody ever came after. Nobody. That was it. I don't even know if that Escalade was following us or that was just happenstance. If you put a gun to my head to this day, I would tell you, yes, it was too coincidental, but nothing ever came back to me with this. When I presented this to the wife, right, I didn't know the reaction I was going to get. Sometimes you get crazy reactions. Sometimes you get hysterical crying. Sometimes you get shocked. Sometimes you get silence, like what am I going to do? What struck me here crazy was she didn't flinch. With all this news about infidelity, shady business deals, who he was cheating with, the senior policy advisor, none of that made her flinch. I asked her if there was anything else I could do, and she thanked me, and told me that I've done more than enough. She don't know how she could have thanked me, but she said, do not do anything else. You're done. Your services are rendered. Thank you. And if she ever needs me again, she'll speak to me. Obviously, I knew that would never happen again because of who was involved. But the funny thing is, 1 week later, literally 1 week later, I hear through the grapevine that she filed for divorce quietly. I couldn't believe that it was not in the media that she had filed for divorce, being, due to the magnitude of who she was and who she was married to. And he announced that he was going to be stepping down. So, and the reason why he was stepping down was for personal reasons. So my thing is this, I guess she presented to him with the evidence, didn't want to make a zoo out of it with the press. I guess she said, listen, I will walk away. I want a divorce. I will walk away. I want X amount. And at this point, I guess he had no choice because of what she had on him. And I guess he was afraid at some point that he could have continued to go on the path he was going and got brought down due to the information that was already out. So, again, it's amazing to me how you could be in this position of power, you could be on the rise, and you're still worried about not only messing around, but messing around with somebody that's directly connected to you and getting involved with somebody doing shady deals that's being investigated by the feds. So I don't know if this guy just thought he was untouchable. I don't know if he just thought there was no way he was going to get caught. But the funny and ironic thing is the 2008 burner phone, which I didn't even know we could do anything with. Thank God for my buddy at Cybercrime, who was able to get into it. Basically, it was what took him down. So again, I just thought the twist of the case was just so interesting because not only of who was involved and whether it was, again, not to be repetitive, a politician or a plumber. I just thought the whole twist of doing what you're doing, being so secure in your life, being on the rise, or no matter what you're doing, being that pompous on not thinking that you can actually get caught. So again, I just wanted to share this story with you. And that's why when I say all the time, we open the show, in a world of secrets, we don't chase the truth, we hunt it. That's what we do. And again, that's my story of the politician and the boner. I keep saying boner. Can you imagine this? Maybe my head's somewhere else. But that's my story of the politician and the burner phone mistress. And again, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Believe, and I can't wait for you guys to hear this, we are climbing steadily on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can check us out anywhere you stream your podcasts. We will be back next week with another case, another great guest, some pointers on different private investigating things with as far as some funny cheating cases, some funny cases in general. So again, stay bulletproof, and we'll see you next week. And that's Bulletproof, your source for celebrity crime investigations. Subscribe for new episodes. Send celebrity scandal tips. Follow us on Instagram at Bulletproof True Crime Podcasts for exclusive content. This is Steve Stanulis. I'm keeping you bulletproof against all celebrity lies.